about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about something interesting and intriguing. And today, my very special guest is Takiyah Joseph, who is out of the Jacksonville area. And so I'm super excited and delighted to have her on with me today. We are going to be talking about Black women and community, which I think is a very timely topic. And so this is an interactive live. Your comments are welcome. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and on LinkedIn. And so we want to hear from you. So if you will, in the comments, put your city and state so we can give you a shout out. And again, we want to hear from you. So your questions are welcome, your comments are welcome, and we're gonna have a good time. So I see Steph has tuned in, Stephanie Clark. Yes, it is a great topic, Black woman. I appreciate you being on here, Steph. Listen, tag your friends, let them know they need to be on here because this is gonna be a great conversation. I'm gonna go ahead and read some of Takiyah's bio. Takiyah Joseph was born and raised in Brooklyn. Brooklyn in the house. My son lives in Brooklyn, actually, where she quickly learned to keep up or get left behind. And getting left behind wasn't an option, so she didn't. Entering college as a biochemistry major at Adelphi University, she noticed that she wasn't in the company of her people. And so the intense journey of self discovery began. One of her favorite college professors once said that no one chooses the field of social work, but instead the field chooses them. And so she earned her bachelor's and master's degree of social work, and she thought it was time for her to begin and be an instrument, of healing. And so she said the choice of social work was not her initial choice, but it was divinely orchestrated. She relocated to Florida and she obtained her license in clinical social work. She inevitably began a became a trained listener, which I'm not a trained listener, but I do hold space for people. So I know what that's like. She says she's one who hears with her ears and heart. Her passion is to help people, help the misunderstood people be understood and the unheard be heard while creating a safe space for helpers to be rejuvenated, enlightened, and resist the temptation of oh my goodness, desensitization. I killed that word, regardless of time spent in the field. Her present role is co-founder of Acknowledge You, yes, you, counseling and consulting services based in Orange Park, Florida, where she functions as a full-time clinician and qualified supervisor. In addition, she is an adjunct professor at the University of South Florida. Y'all help me welcome Takiyah Joseph.
Oh,
Hey. Welcome.
thank you. It's so great to be back on with you, Nicole. It's our second go round.
It is. And I'm so glad we made time to make this happen because, again, this is a really great topic.
Absolutely. I'm excited to get into it. And it's nice to see so many people popping into the chat. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we're gonna acknowledge them. So I see Miss Doris on. Hey, Miss Doris, she recently had a birthday, so happy belated birthday. Thank
Happy belated.
you for being here with us. Miss Kesey, who's here in Tallahassee, thank you for joining us. Lady Delight from Brooklyn, New York. Great topic. Thank you for being here. And Miss Natalia, who is here in Tallahassee as well. Thank you for being here. Miss Potter. Hi, Nikki, watching. Yes, thank you for being here, Miss Potter. She's down in Miami. Love you. Appreciate you so much. So tell the people, who is Takiyah Joseph? Not what you do, but who are you in your own words?
Who am I? I am an empath at heart. I care. I sincerely care about the people. I am someone who's very passionate. I have a lot of compassion. I like to have a lot of fun as well. I'm an introvert. Let me say that. I'm an introvert, believe it or not. For the people on who know me, they might be like, is she? I am. I'm an introvert. I power back up from spending time alone. But I really enjoy interfacing with others. I enjoy doing the work that I do. But when I need to power back up, I take some time by myself.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, wonderful. And in terms of acknowledge you, tell us a little bit about, I guess, who you serve and whether or not you're taking new clients and maybe whether or not you do in person or telehealth or both.
Sure. So, Acknowledge You Counseling and Consulting Services was launched just a few years ago. We're still pretty young, under 5 years ago. My business partner and I, Charlene Smith, shout out to her. We started the company really to create a space, an authentic space where people can come, be themselves, open up, and get the help and support that they need on their healing journey. Our staff is growing. Nicole and I was just chatting about this. We are now a team of 7, including a graduate student intern. And we are actively accepting clients. We offer virtual and in-person sessions to any residents across the state of Florida. Obviously, if you are not in Jacksonville or Orange Park, where our physical office is located, we can service you once you're in the state of Florida via telehealth services. We also offer Saturday sessions, which is relatively new. So if your schedule is crazy, Monday to Friday, no excuse to take care of you because we now have Saturday openings. We accept employee assistance programs, several managed care insurances, including Medicare, but unfortunately not Medicaid. And of course, self-pay is an option. But you can reach out to us if you have any questions about how to get started, but we are here for you.
Nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Because one of the things that I do hope that folks are able to do is connect with the clinicians that are on the show. So I always want to give an opportunity for, you to be able to share what you do and who you serve and of course how folks can connect with you. So
Absolutely. Let me just add one thing that I did neglect to mention. We do work with children as young as 5,
mm,
all the way through adults up to age 65 to 70, I would say. The
okay.
biggest thing is having the capability to engage in talk therapy, which is not appropriate for everyone. So
Right.
once you can engage in talk therapy and your age is 5 and up, I like to say, we pretty much can assist you at our group practice.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Okay, very good. So before we get started, I like to read my disclaimer, especially
Yes.
if I have a licensed clinician on, and that is that all topics, past, present, and future, on Conversations with Nicole are for informational purposes only. They are not to be used as a diagnosis for treatment or an answer to any personal issues related to the topic being discussed before, during, or after the program. All right. So let's dive in.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's dive in. Black women in community.
Yeah.
Black women in community. So I thought this was I think it's a very timely topic
Mm,
with the November elections. We had a Black woman that was running for president of the United States.
mhm.
who was currently serving as Vice President, Kamala Harris, and she did not prevail. She did not win that election. And I felt like there was a lot of momentum
Mm-hmm.
with her being a candidate. A lot of money was raised,
Yes.
a number of organizations were supporting and on board and really just trying to make sure she got the victory.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And so many have expressed some great disappointment as
Mm-hmm.
it relates to that, especially because of the person who won has previously been the president, and
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, I don't even know what to say about that. But I just want to say that there was a lot of disappointment, and
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot of talk about Black women being, like 92% of Black women going out to vote,
Mm-hmm.
and just it's almost like a sense of another denial, another
Mm-hmm.
rejection, another. And I don't know if, and I would love to hear from maybe the viewers too, if you felt the weightiness of all of that, especially the Black women that are on the live right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it just felt like, once again,
Mm-hmm.
we are not being acknowledged or validated or recognized or appreciated or seen, for
Mm-hmm.
that matter.
Yeah. Um, it's been an interesting time, right? That's a nice, pretty, politically correct way
Mm-hmm.
to say it. One thing that I've had to learn about politics is that we have to be careful about putting all of our faith and hope into any one
Mm.
person or any one party
Yeah.
at any given time.
Mhm.
I think the best they can do is behave in a manner of trying to understand and relate,
Yeah.
right? But in all reality, there's a great disconnect because our lives are so incredibly different
Mhm.
from so many of them,
Yeah.
right? So that's sort of all encompassing, regardless of the candidate.
Mhm.
During this time, I've spent a lot of hours being an open ear and a source of validation for a lot of my clients.
Mm.
Personally, in my practice, I work primarily, not only, but primarily with women of color,
Mhm.
professional women of color, and stay-at-home mothers, that mixture. So there's been a lot of very open dialogue about this feeling. And after we process and talk, and for some, share anger and frustration and all of the things that
Yeah.
we're entitled to feel, my question has been to them, now what?
Right.
Now what do you want to do? Now, this doesn't change your needs. This does not change your cause. This
Mhm.
does not change the areas that you are passionate about. This does not change any of that. It
Right.
may complicate some of it, right?
Mhm.
It may make some of it much harder to figure out and understand. But now what?
Yeah.
Because no one politician has ever done all the things for any one of us, and none will ever.
True. True. True.
Ever. This
Yeah.
is exactly why our conversation tonight is so relevant,
Mhm.
because really we need community.
Yeah.
We've always needed community.
Mhm.
You and I spoke a bit as we were prepping for today about how, unfortunately, with the growth or the pendulum swing of increased independence and modernization, we've
Mhm.
moved away from community. We've moved away from the village,
Yeah.
right? We often talk about the importance of the village to raise children. We need a village as grown people, We've always needed our village, right? I gave you the example of talking with my grandmothers about growing up in the West Indies, because my family's from the Caribbean, growing up in the West Indies. Speaking of politics and immigration, right? I'm only second generation born in America. So I remember having conversations with my grandparents about the importance of their community, their neighbors, and how what one didn't have, the other had. And by the time they were done conversing and swapping goods, everyone was able to eat.
Yeah.
Every child was accounted for and taken care of. If one had to be out later than the other, they knew their children were safe.
Yeah.
Right? They knew they were fed. They knew all was well for the most part. We need community, and we always have, and we always will.
Absolutely. Very well said. Can't, agree with you more. We got a few folks that I want to acknowledge real quick. So, my cousin Nora in Virginia, thank you for being here, Nora. We also have Donda, who's here in Tallahassee. Thank you for joining us. My cousin Marcella, who is also in Virginia, thank you for being here. Miss Jeanette down in Miami Gardens, I appreciate you. And Dr. Joy, who's here in Tallahassee, she said adult villages so necessary. Yes, thank you, Dr. Joy. She's here in Tallahassee and will be on next week with me. And my mom is here from Miami. Thank you for being here, Mom. Love you so much. So I want to get the viewers involved. So what does community look like for you all? Let us know in the comments. What does, then specifically I'm talking to the Black women, what does community look like? What does your community look like? It could be your church community. It could be your work community. It could be your family. It could be chosen friends. What does your community look like? Let us know in the comments if you don't mind sharing. Again, safe space for us to engage with one another. Let us know, what does your community look like? All right. My sister Shayla is here. Thank you for being here, Shay. She's also in South Florida. Love you. And Miss Dr. Joy said a safe space within my personal network. Okay, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Steph, she says support. Okay, nice. Nice. Thank you for that. Yes. When I think of my community, I think of my tribe.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, as you have said, we have always needed community, and maybe while we have not formally kind of recognized it, or even maybe appreciated it from some in some instances, if we think about, like you said, your grandmother, or the elders, the elder women in your family, they took care of one another, whether that was them specifically, or their children, or their relative, or even looking after one another's property or space, right? If you see something that looks funny on your neighbor, your sister, your community person, their property, their household, and you're gonna ring the alarm. You're gonna say something, or report it, or what have you. But we have really, I think, in some regards, again, based on some of what you expressed just a few moments ago, have kind of taken a hands-off approach on a number of things. And so I think that kind of leaves us in a state of kind of isolation.
And that's the perfect word. That's exactly what I was thinking about. We experience life on an island by ourselves, and that's no way to do it. Even if we came into this world independently, we are all a part of systems. And we need our safe space, as Dr. Joy said. We need, in a safe space, we need to be clear on what that means. That means a space where I can show up as myself. I'm held accountable, but I'm done so with love. And integrity and authenticity, right? So this is not a group of yes people, because that's not always the safest place for us. We need a place where we can be held accountable, but we have no doubt in our mind that this person is giving it to us straight because they love us. and
Mm-hmm.
no other reason besides that. And
Yeah.
we need that. We need to have that so that we don't experience that feeling of I'm alone in this, no one understands. You know, in isolation is where depression, anxiety is birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I call anxiety and depression cousins. They like to hang out together.
Mm.
So, you know, when you're in that place by yourself, that's where all those really dark, terrible, distorted thoughts begin to birth.
Mm.
We need people that can say, "Girl, what's going on with you? Why you look like that?" Or
Yes.
you always call me, you know, once a week. It's Friday. You
Mm-hmm.
know, where you been? What's going on? And
Yeah.
not take it as they just in my business or they nosy. No, they checking
Mm-hmm.
for you because you're breaking routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something's going on, and you need some people that know you well enough to know when you are out of order, out of line, or breaking routine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My mom just commented in the chat there, because her and I always talk about breaking routines. And
Mm.
when someone breaks a routine, it's your first indicator of maybe there's a safety concern.
Mm.
Maybe I need to check on my strong friend. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to see what's going on. But when you don't have community, who knows to check for you?
Yes. That is a very important point. I think about that a lot about myself. I probably have about maybe maybe 3 friends that I talk to very regularly, like
Mhm.
almost every day.
Yeah.
And when that routine is broken, I do think about like, you know, sometimes I may kind of in my mind think, oh, they were probably busy doing something else or got caught up on something
Right.
else. But I think it's also good to like check in and say, like,
Mhm.
hey, I didn't hear from you at our kind of normal time that we talk. Is everything
Right.
okay? You know?
For sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
we can't assume we don't want to be on either extreme, right? We
Mhm.
don't want to assume because we haven't heard from our person the worst thing has happened. But we
Yeah.
also don't want to assume all is well, they just forgot.
Right.
Because we
Right.
never know. This life we live is very short.
Yes.
Time is precious, right?
Mhm.
So we want to be able to check for our people. And sometimes it is that they're busy, but sometimes that's not what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
good. A couple more folks have joined us. Miss Tammy, who's here in Tallahassee. Thank you for being here. And Miss Tangela Lofton, who is also here in Tallahassee. Good evening. Thank you for being here, Tan. Woo. All right. So yes, a break in the routine. That's like one of the I think tips. I'm just writing it down as a gem
Mhm.
or a nugget for tonight. All right. So broken routines need to be checked. Yes. Listen, Mama Delight gonna be my moderator for the night. I love it. Indeed, indeed. All right. I think this is to Nisha in Madison, Light of Serenity. This is a much needed conversation. Thank you for being here. Yes, it is. So we are diving in. All right. So yes, breaking routine and that what you said about anxiety and depression being cousins and liking to hang out together.
They
That is
do. It's
yeah.
like one goes down and the other one is like, I'm here. Right? Like right when you calm down, then you feel sad, you feel exhausted. Or right when that sadness come down, now I'm nervous. So we
Mhm.
have to watch that. You
Yeah.
know, everything starts and stops essentially in our minds.
Yes.
So what are we doing with that idle time? Who are we with? What are we feeding ourselves? This is
Mhm.
all connected to community.
It is. It is.
Mhm.
It is. It is. So I've heard adults often, and not just women, but men as well, say how challenging it is for them to make friends as adults.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, as an introvert, I get it, right? It can be challenging. But you know, part of living this life is problem solving. We are problem solve. If I'm
Mm,
faced with a challenge, the question is, what do I need to do to
mm,
overcome this or to address this concern?
yeah.
So it's challenging. So I usually start with adults asking them, what are your hobbies? And
Mm.
you would think when I ask an adult that in session, they look at me like I done said something ridiculous, right?
Really?
Right, because they're like hobbies. What hobbies? I work, I
Yes.
come home, right? If I have a family, I take care of my family. I'm like, those are not hobbies, those are responsibilities.
Mhm,
What are your hobbies? What
mhm,
are the things that you enjoy doing, that rejuvenate you, that relax you, that makes you laugh, that makes you feel good.
Ooh,
Which is a whole separate conversation, right?
it
So
is.
we figured out that some of us adults, we've lost touch with hobbies. Hobbies are a key connector to our community.
Mm,
They're a key connector. Why? They're a very natural way to connect with like-minded people,
mm-hmm.
right? If I enjoy art and I start hanging out in creative spaces, it's
Yeah.
only a matter of time
Mm,
before I connect with someone that we have a little vibe with and a conversation can get started.
right.
But if I don't know what I like, I don't know where to go, I don't know who to spend time with, I'm just going to stay home by myself. I
Yeah.
can't do people. That's what my clients say. I can't do people. No, you can do people. You just can't do the wrong people. You
Right.
got to find your people.
We got to find your people.
You got to find your people.
Love it. Yes. All right. So a few folks have chimed in. My sister definitely have lost touch with hobbies.
Mm,
Right. And, that can be challenging. And I can understand why, because you are working, you have a husband,
yeah.
you have children, especially
Hmm.
small children. So it's easy to definitely lose touch with hobbies. All right, Miss Tammy said, I'm working on that. And she
Good.
said, that's totally me.
Hmm.
Right. Thank you for sharing, Miss Tammy. Mama Delight said the challenge becomes a trust issue inviting someone in your space. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
That's a whole nother thing. But there's levels
yeah.
of trust and there's proximities of closeness.
Mm,
So, when you start letting people in, no, they can't be up close, knowing everything.
mhm,
People earn it,
mhm,
right? So you give them opportunities and you build relationship, you build rapport, and through that you start learning who you can trust and what you can trust them with. And
mhm,
that's one of the beauties of having community too. You have your people for different things,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Shout out to my aunt who's also on.
Okay.
Sharon, she said she likes going on boat rides and
Uh,
carnivals and backyard parties and
yeah.
all that stuff. So you start figuring out, okay, who can I do those things with?
Yeah.
And then who can I talk about what's going on with my children with? Who
Mm,
can I talk about this job stress with? You
mhm,
start learning the people you're connecting with to figure out the levels of trust that
mhm.
y'all have, right?
Yeah.
Because in a community, that's one of the beauties of it. I think about again that village that my grandmothers used to tell me about.
Mhm.
This one, they could make the bread. This one, they could bake, the cakes and stuff.
Right.
There was someone who did something for every village.
Mhm.
So you may not have the same level of closeness and trust with everyone in the village,
Yeah.
but the fact that you have one, you're winning.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Sharon. So Keisha has joined us. She's here in Tallahassee. And she said, you're out of course, inner course, and holy of holy courts.
Mhm.
So, I think again, it's different people that have, and I think that really speaks to the different gifts and talents that we have, right? And
Right.
so when we think about, like you said, you have certain folks that are going to do certain things and meet certain needs. And,
Mhm.
and that's good. That's a good thing, I believe.
Mhm. I think
Hmm.
so too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hobbies, folks, some have mentioned they've gotten away from it, but I want to again get the viewers involved. Tell me, those of you who do engage in hobbies. Sharon was the only one that talked about boat rides, carnivals, backyard parties. Woohoo! What are some of your hobbies? What are some of the things that you like to do outside of work? Okay, outside of work, what are some things
Mhm.
that you like to do? What are some of your hobbies? Some of your interests?
Right.
And maybe even if you haven't started them, what are some things that you might like to do?
Mhm.
And recognize, like you were saying, that there are like-minded people out there that enjoy the same things. And
There
so
are.
you can build community in that.
Mhm.
I'll give an example. Um, gosh, I guess it's been August of 2023. A friend of mine said that she that God told her to start this line dance class, and she asked me to assist. And so we started doing these line dance classes twice a week. No, not twice a week, twice a month, every other Tuesday in Tallahassee. And then there was some interest to do it in a neighboring county, so we were doing
Mhm.
it every other Thursday
Oh,
in
wow.
Gaston County, and then another county wanted us to come, so it just kind of grew, and we built this really um, just beautiful community of folks that love to come and line dance, and
Mhm.
there was not a fee, but we would take tips, and it was an hour, and they still are moving forward. I'm no longer
Mhm.
involved. She and another gentleman are carrying out these classes, but they have built this community of dancers that enjoy coming together for an hour, you
Mhm.
know, once a week, every other week, or what have you, and they
Mhm.
love it. They love it. They love it. Yeah.
And you touched on something really important there too. Of if you can't find one, you can create one.
Can't.
That's what she said. She
That's
created
exactly
one.
what she did. Yeah.
She created one. But disclaimer, when you're creating a community, if you have 150 rules to this community, it will impact
Right.
who you attract, what you attract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of how much you're putting yourself out there, because one of the hard truths that we have to acknowledge for ourselves, and I often say this in session, everybody else can't be the problem all the time.
That
It
part.
can't be everybody else all the time. It
All
can't
the
be,
time. Right.
that's a hard thing to say, but it can't be everybody else everywhere you go, everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
You're the common factor, right? So
Yeah.
what that means is, okay, I need to understand what may be getting in the way, hindering, negatively impacting my ability to just chill and
Mm.
enjoy the company of others. It's not always that deep at first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just start off with, what do I like to do? And if you're really in a space where you're saying, I legitimately don't know, revisit what you used to enjoy
Mm-hmm.
and kind of check back in and see, do I still like those things?
Yes.
Or have I evolved in such a way that I no longer, connect with those activities? Okay, cool.
Mhm.
If that is the case, you can eliminate those. And now we can explore other things. A
Yes.
lot of us like to scroll on social media. What are the reels or the personalities on social media that you tend to gravitate to? What do they do that intrigues you so much?
Mhm.
That's another way to figure it out. Oh, I love watching people who cook.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we need to go to a cooking class,
Maybe we need to. Maybe we
right?
need to.
Maybe we need to find a traveling group of foodies in the
Mhm.
city,
Yeah.
because they exist,
Yes, they do. They
right?
do.
Yeah, there's so many digital communities. I personally am a part of several digital communities as a professional that I find incredibly supportive and helpful.
Nice. No, that's good. Good stuff. So we are a little more than halfway through our conversation. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am on with Takiyah Joseph. We are talking Black women and community. Black women and community. We got a few folks that have joined us. Constance, who is here in Tallahassee, thank you for being here. We have several people that have chimed in with their hobbies. So Steph said, travel, even a short day trip. Yes.
Mhm.
It's something about getting away,
I'm
Steph.
telling
Something
you.
about just a change of scenery, just for a
Yes.
little while,
Yeah.
right? Yes. Miss Tammy, she said creating beautiful baskets. Yes, and she does create beautiful baskets. Thank you for sharing
Creative.
it. All right. Lady Delight said working out, cooking, and spending quality time with friends and family. Love it.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh, and she said doing puzzles, keeping my mind sharp.
Mhm.
Yes. I like that too. Jigsaw puzzles, in particular, for me, I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, good, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. All right, but hobbies again, if you maybe had some things that you used to like to do, maybe
Mhm.
pick it back up. You know,
Yes. Mhm.
I feel like part of that is kind of tapping into that inner child, right?
Yeah, some of it is that. Like, What did I enjoy a lot? Was my imagination very active? So
Mhm.
chances are you're probably a creative. So there's so many different types of arts, right? Like what type of arts do you like to do? Visual. Do you like drama? What do you like? No,
Yeah.
I like music. Okay. Do you like going to concerts? Do you like going to jazz
Mhm.
fest and things like that? Check out in your city. What events do they have? So
Mhm.
there's always these opportunities. It's a matter of putting yourself out there. And I've
Yes.
also, I've had adults say, well, I like those things, but I don't want to go by myself. Well,
Mhm.
the first time you go, you might go by yourself,
Right.
but there's a really good chance that you're going to connect with people while you're there. And maybe the next time you don't have to go by yourself,
That part.
but you either want it or you don't.
Yeah.
Do you want to build this community? Yes, it's easier said than done. So that means it's going to take a little bit of us doing something different, right?
Mhm.
Because you got to ask yourself, if you don't want to do something different, how is it working out for you doing it the way you're doing it now?
Good question. So what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? Right? So if you want this community, then you have to go and you have to be active in cultivating this community. One
Absolutely.
of the communities that I'm a part of is a bunch of moms from going to sports games
Mhm.
with our children, right?
Mhm.
So naturally, we're seeing each other constantly. Every weekend, throughout the week, we started working out together, and
Mm.
then we built a genuine friendship
Wow.
from spending that time. Now, initially, did we all vibe? No. We were just giving each other the pleasant hello.
Uh-huh.
And we would go to our respective part of the bleachers. But over time, you start cheering for the same thing. You
Mm.
start looking out for each other's children. And then it's like, oh, she's all right.
Uh,
She's not so bad.
right.
And then conversations start brewing that way. So
Mhm.
it's the openness, the willingness to connect.
Yes. Well, and so I think that speaks to, as you were talking about, those trust levels, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, 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 yes.
And so that's something that's earned, if you will, and
Mhm.
established over time with experience.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It takes time, and remember, when you're first connecting with people, within the first couple hours of knowing you, they shouldn't know your whole life story and all the traumas that you've had. And
Yeah.
maybe you're letting people in a little too quickly. So you're not getting to learn them until you've already over divulged and
Mhm.
been overly transparent. And now you're assessing them.
Yeah. That
That's also intimidating to people as well. So we want to go easy. We
Mhm.
want to get to know people, keep it light, explore
Right.
interest and things of that nature. And then we can go a little deeper over time.
A little deeper over time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I liken that to uh intimate relationships, or when we there's a person of interest, and people get so kind of caught up in the newness of it all,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
folks exchanging stories, and maybe sometimes with the dopamine flowing and the stimulation of the conversation, they don't want it to end, right?
Right,
And
right,
so now you like spent the whole weekend telling them, all about you. They're telling you
right.
all about them. This is like, no, you need to spread that out some. Okay.
Yeah, let's pace ourselves a little bit.
Yes.
Keisha commented, Keisha
Yes.
Washington, she
Yes. Yes.
said, and that is right in line with what you said. Sometimes we let them in too quickly because we think they have something we want or need. And that's so true. You're speaking about that vulnerability. We're
Mhm.
just so desperate and, desiring so badly to have this connection that we're going too quickly.
Yeah.
But that also speaks to the newness of it, which is what Nicole is talking about. When
Mhm.
you don't do this a lot, it's awkward and it's weird, which is why it's important to socialize. Even as an introvert, for me, it's important to stay connected to people because it's a muscle you have to keep exercising.
You
If
do.
you isolate for an extensive period of time, it can feel very awkward reconnecting with people.
Mhm. It
I
can.
remember, staying at home with my oldest for a little while for some months. And I started feeling like, okay, I am feeling like I don't know how to communicate with adults because I've been with this baby, with this infant,
Right.
and it was awkward at first.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to get back out there and slowly get back in a groove. So
Mhm.
sometimes it just takes some time. Extend some grace to yourself and be patient.
Absolutely.
Let things flow a little bit.
Yes. So your mom said, "Amen. Easy, cautious, and slow." Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We got a few more folks that have joined us.
Mhm.
Miss Edwina, who is here in Tallahassee, and Dr. Anika Fields, who is also here in Tallahassee. Thank you both for being on. Miss Jeanette said, "I like listening to music. Every Sunday, I meet with a community of jazz lovers at a jazz jam. I also like plants. I have many plants I attend, and my pets keep me occupied."
There you go.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that, Miss Jeanette.
I saw another plant lover. A shout out to another aunt that's on
Oh,
here out there.
yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
she mentioned gardening, and she does beautiful gardens, by the way. She's
Love it. Love it.
amazing the way
Yes.
she does.
I love gardening too, but I only grow stuff that I can eat. So
She grows both. She has the pretty stuff and the things she
okay.
can eat. Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. Let's see. Donna said I really needed to use some of the tools you shared tonight. Oh, wonderful. That's great. That warms our heart. We love to
It
hear that.
does. It does.
All right, Keisha, I need to connect with Jeanette. All right,
There you
she's
go.
down in Miami, Keisha. So we'll have to see if we can make that happen. All right. So I think we've already kind of touched on one of the things that you and I talked about, which is
Mhm.
that um sometimes it can be awkward
Yeah.
starting that conversation with someone or doing the small talk, if you will. I've
Mhm.
heard people say they don't like small talk,
Yeah.
but it's a means to an end, right?
That's right. That's
Hmm.
exactly right. We joked about this because I say I'm part of that club where I say I don't love small talk, right?
Right.
But I learned to stop saying that because it's all about mindset. If
Mm,
you walk into these encounters saying I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't, again, how is that working out for you?
yeah.
It's not, right? So let's maybe approach this a little bit differently. Now, if you say small talk is uncomfortable for me, that's very different from I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like it is almost dismissive. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not engaging. It
Mm,
makes me uncomfortable. Okay, this leaves some room for to work through discomfort because you can do the hard stuff.
yeah.
How do I know? Because you've done hard stuff already.
Hmm.
So I made this joke with Nicole when I go to networking events, right? Because this is how we extend our reach
Yeah.
as entrepreneurs and as a therapist, as someone who is a helper. I have to go out and connect with people,
Hmm.
right? So it's a little awkward for me, a lot of awkward for me, to be honest, to be fully transparent. So I joke with Nicole and I told her I go hang out by the food table because people come over there and naturally from looking and picking, you start small talking. Oh, that looks good. Let me
Uh-huh.
try this. Have you ever had that? What's that? What you think is in there?
Uh-huh.
And naturally, it starts to break the ice. So
Yeah.
when you go and you sit down to actually eat, some of those initial jitters are out
Mm,
because you've started some small talk, right? The
yeah.
other thing you can do, have some conversation starters in mind. You go to an event. Oh, how did you hear about this?
Hmm.
Oh, is this your first time? Do you
Yeah.
know anything about these organizers? I stumbled across it the other day, so I decided to come. Have you been
Hmm.
to any of their events before? And
Mm.
it's relevant,
Yes.
right? It's relevant to where you are and what's going on, but it's a way to start engaging with people.
Hmm.
And naturally, depending on the flow of the conversation, you start figuring out, okay, I enjoy talking to this person, and maybe this conversation can continue, or it was nice chatting with you. Have a great night.
Yeah.
But I've allowed myself to, open up, chit chat a little bit, and it's helped me enjoy the event and loosen up a little bit.
Yes. That's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Love that. I love all of that. All right. So communication is key.
always.
And it's not only speaking, our oral communication, but it's our body language too. Right.
Yes.
What is our body language giving?
So if we're giving resting face.
Hold
Okay,
on.
okay,
What
okay.
is our body language giving Black women?
Oh, yeah.
What is our body language giving? What are we giving?
Yeah.
I'm slowing it down because I want you all to think about what your body language gives
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
a daily.
Yes. Reflect on your facial expression when you are driving in your car,
Mm.
because this is how you're prepping to go from point A to point B. If you don't have to drive to work, reflect on the face you have when you turn your camera on Zoom. Reflect on if you never turn your camera on, because that speaks too.
Mm.
Reflect on if you go to a place of worship, do you always have to be greeted first?
Mm.
And what does that look like when you're approached? Reflect on when you're in the office for a meeting and you're sitting and waiting for it to start, what that looks like. When you go out to eat, if you decide to go out, have a solo dinner, solo brunch, solo lunch, what do you look like as the waiter is approaching you to take your order? That's what Nicole's talking about. Reflect on those moments.
Mm-hmm.
Do you appear approachable? And no, it does not mean you have to walk around smiling all the time. No, you don't have to just walk around with a smile on your face. But we don't have to function in extremes either, smile or mean mug. We have in between options.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
We do. So, what's that at rest face look like? Some of us, listen,
It's rough.
we are looking not approachable at all.
Yeah, it's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And being from New York, I know a good at-rest face. We do it well. We do it well in New York. We're real good at it over there.
The good at rest face.
We do. We can probably do some trainings on it in New York.
Uh-huh. All right. Keisha said, reflect on when you reflect on other people's reflection. Listen, I'm sure but you can't. You gotta your energy. What's your energy doing?
That's it.
No, that's all
That's
you can
it.
be concerned about is yourself. Worry about yourself.
That's it. Because who we are attracts energy. It attracts like-minded people, right? So we have to be mindful of how we're showing up in the world around us and how that is playing a role in our ability to develop, nurture community. We have to pay attention to that.
Absolutely. They laughing.
They are. That's my New York people, because they know exactly what I'm talking about. They know that face on the train, on the bus, when you're walking. Like, don't even utter words to me.
Don't even think about.
Don't even say
Don't
anything
think about saying nothing, period.
Right.
At all.
Right. Yes, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
They look at me too hard.
Don't even.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that affects our ability to connect with people.
So how did you make that transition from New York to Florida?
So, okay, truth be told, to keep a long story very short, one, as an adult, I always said I would leave New York.
Okay.
To start my family because of the pace of New York and the tension that is felt sometimes, right? Like public transportation. I personally, while I was living in New York, I intentionally got jobs where I didn't have to take public transportation.
Okay.
That's how much I despise the energy on the trains and the buses. I drove all the time, which is not typical for someone who grew up in the city, right? In the boroughs of New York. So that's one funny thing about me. The second thing is It was a real adjustment moving to Florida. I got to tell you, especially having young children and, people looking at me and smiling and approaching my stroller. And I'm looking at them like, what? Like, what you looking at? And they're like, hello. Hi, you have such a nice family. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Go figure. And that was a running joke between, my family and I, my friends and I'm like, I gotta relax. Like, I really need to take a breath because people are approaching me and, looking at my children, and I'm over here ready to like throw down or, say something crazy to them. And all they're doing is being cordial and courteous.
Yeah.
I gotta chill out. So needless to say, it was an adjustment.
I'm sure.
For me, it took a little bit for me to realize how harmless people were being just from greeting me.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome. Hi, have a good day. And I'm like, oh, you too. It took a little bit, but now I'm good. Now I'm used to it. Now when I go back home, I'm like, everybody just smile. I'm still walking in the stores. I'm like, good afternoon. And they looking at me like, what's good? Like, what's good about it?
Right.
Like, oh, I'm back home. Let me get this together.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was an adjustment.
I'm sure.
Sure.
Okay. So again, communication is key, but it's not just the words that are coming out your mouth. It's also your facial expressions. Yes, verbals, facial expressions, body language. All that. So just be mindful of that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. All right. So anything else that we want to touch on as it relates to Black women in community?
I will say we need it. We need it.
Yeah.
And we can have it. It exists. It's accessible. There are a group of women, there are a group of people that's out there for you to connect with that's not trying to take your spot. That's not trying to outshine you. That's not trying to steal your dreams and your visions, because they can't, because what's yours is yours anyway. There are a group of people out there that's ready to cheer you on and love on you. It exists. So what I would say about that is don't lose hope. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. And you need to be mindful of the energy you're putting out there. If you want a safe space, it's important to ask yourself, am I a safe space for people? You want to be able to trust people. Can they trust you? What you're asking for, do you offer it? And if you don't, we could work on that. My attitude as a human being first and as a therapist is, if we woke up today, we have another opportunity to work on it. Work on us, work on whatever the situation is at hand. So if there's some areas that in this conversation is kind of stinging a little bit, right? That's okay. That's just, an opportunity to say, I need to work on that, because that's probably the one area in my life, or that's probably the one part of me that's the stumbling block here. That's the barrier. Okay, so let's do something about it, because you deserve to be amongst a group of people, a group of women that get it, and they're there to support you and love on you and check you too, but check you with love and compassion. You deserve that, and we need that. We really, really need that. We need to stop trying to do this life thing by ourselves in isolation. We need connection.
We do. All right. So your mom said truth. Well said. I agree, Mom, wholeheartedly.
We need it.
So I want to ask the viewers, if community is maybe lacking in your life and you wish to have community, village, tribe, whatever you want to call it, what are you willing to do after this conversation? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to try to move forward to get the community that you desire and you deserve? What are you willing to do? Let us know, if you don't mind. Let us know. And community, again, does not necessarily have to be in person. It could be virtual. It can be, it doesn't have to be something, a group that you engage with every day.
That's right.
It can be weekly, it can be monthly,
Mm-hmm.
but it's community nonetheless.
Right.
What are you willing to do to have community in your life? I have said since the day after election, last year's election, that we are going to need community now more than ever,
Mm-hmm.
more than ever. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes back to what you spoke about in terms of your grandmother and other uh, women in your family checking on one another and making sure that the needs of the community are met. I do believe that everything that we need, we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything that we need, we have
Yeah.
amongst us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For some of us, for those of us who pray, like the answers to some of our prayers are in arm's reach, but we won't never know because we don't open our mouths.
Mhm.
Right? For some of us, that job promotion is
Mm,
at our fingertips, but we just moving around in silence, right? Because we can't let anybody know because everybody want our spot. Not true.
yeah.
Every single person does not want what you have or want what you want. That's not true.
And if it's for you, it's gonna be for you. Can't nobody do nothing.
That's it.
Take your spot. If it's for you, it's gonna be for you. Period.
That's it. That's it.
Okay, so lots of folks have chimed in.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Steph said, take time to participate. Love it, Steph. That's step number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Miss Felicia is on with us. Thank you for being here. She said, I can think of 5 people that I would like to grab a cup of coffee with. I'm going to be intentional and communicate that with them. Love it.
That's
Yes.
it.
That is one of my techniques or tips that I use often is coffee talks. All right. Elite Alina.
Idea.
Yes. Approach with positive energy and try to look for the best in others rather than be judgmental. Let
Yeah.
go, let God. Yes, that's great. Yes, thank you for sharing that. All right. So true, said Nora. All right, Nora, what you gonna do? I know you busy. You got your husband, the children, the business, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Let us know. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Donda, letting down walls and start with conversations. Yes,
Love it.
yes, yes, yes,
Love it. That's it.
yes. That's good.
Yes.
Right, Keisha. I'm starting Monday morning conversations with Keisha
Okay.
at Signature Lounge. Come on.
All
All
right,
right.
Keisha.
Come through.
There you
Yeah,
go.
for these Monday morning conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. All right. That's good. Those are all great first steps and definitely encouraging you all to put those steps in action. Activate them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you desire community. We all do, and you deserve community, and a community that supports you and cares for you and is gonna be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
So Nora, she said, I'm gonna take a spa day every month. Okay, all right.
You might find your crew, Nora, at that spa trying to
Exactly.
practice that self-care. You
Mhm.
might find your people right there.
You might. You might.
Mm-hmm.
You might. So
Yeah.
that's great. Encouraging you in that, Nora. So thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think this has been a really great conversation.
I think so too. I
Nice,
think so too.
nice. So I want to give you an opportunity to give some closing remarks and tell folks how they can connect with you.
Sure. So it's always a pleasure connecting with you, Nicole. So I want to start off by saying that. But just again, in summary, go find your community, show up with your authentic, loving self. And if you know, honestly speaking, that there's some areas in you that have been a barrier because of maybe things you've been through, things you've witnessed that happen to other people, and you know it's a direct barrier to you connecting with your people, do the work to work on that. You know, what happened to you many years ago or even a few months ago, you don't have to wear this thing as a badge of honor. Let's work through that, heal that up so we can, as they say, live our best life, connect with our real people, form our real community. Why? Because again, we need and we deserve community. Since the elections, Nicole has mentioned that she has thought a lot about the need for community. But the truth is, elections, death, challenges in life, all they are reminders of what we already knew for a lot of us as adults. We know that we need our people, and that's why we hurt and we struggle so intensely sometimes when we don't have that connection, because we're yearning for what's considered a basic need. Feeling connected and belonging to a group of people is one of our basic needs as human beings, and we need that. I ask y'all to please not do this life thing alone, right? We may have entered the earth individually, for many of us, but we are all a part of systems and communities, and we need to be connected to our people. That enhances our life experiences. So go out there, do the work, connect, enjoy, identify some things that you like doing. If you're not sure what they are, start trying some things based on things you've seen online or things that you've heard people talk about. But go out there and take care of yourself. Enjoy yourself. Life cannot only be about working, working, paying bills, taking care of the house. There's a lot more living to do than that. So please enjoy yourself. In terms of connecting with my team and with me, you can reach us. It's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. You can send us an email at info@acknowledgeucc.com. You can text or call us 904-370-3282. You can check out our website as well. We have a contact us form on our website. It's www.acknowledgeu, with the letter U, not the word U, cc.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, TikTok. You can reach us on all of those platforms and DM us. We're here for you. We want to help you do the work. We do accept various employee assistance programs, insurances, and of course, we accept self-pay as well. We work with clients as young as 5 all the way through adults, couples, groups, and families. So we're here to help you do it. No judgment. That's all.
All right. Nice. Very good. Well, thank you again so much for your time, your knowledge, your expertise, and just, being your Takiyah self.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So I want to invite folks who may be new to the platform to subscribe here Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. to Conversations with Nicole on YouTube. Our focus is on mental health and wellness in Black and Brown communities specifically, and encouraging us to get our checkup from the neck up so we can be our best selves. All right. I want to also encourage us to keep this conversation going. So tag a friend on this link. Share this with a friend or loved one, and encourage them to find community. All right, because it's important. And again, we gonna really need it. We gonna really need it. My sister has chimed in. Amazing conversation. Thank you, Shayla. I appreciate that so much. We got a few more folks that have chimed in. Let's see. Keisha, great show. Always connecting the community. Absolutely. That's what we do. We got John Weiss, who is in the house. Duval in the house.
Duval.
LOL. That's all right. Well, we appreciate you being here, John. Let's see. Lady Light, she said, great conversation. Appreciate the conversation and insight. Life is full of challenges. Put God first and be approachable. Yes, absolutely love that. Great platform. Thank you so much. All right, Miss Doris, great conversation. Thank you. Donda, great conversation. Thank you. Marcella, everybody, great conversation. Thank you. Miss Teresa, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Yes, awesome conversation. Thank you, Cousin Laura. I appreciate you so much. All right, so listen, y'all, we have our marching orders in terms of establishing community. So get on out there and try it.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. What are you waiting on?
Yes.
Do it.
All right. Y'all heard it. All right, good people. Well, hopefully we'll see you next week, but y'all be safe and have a good rest of the evening. Bye.